Hey guys, welcome to KIRUTZ, the KIRUTZ of Sex Addiction. My name is Colin, and today I've been thinking a lot about some phone calls that I've been recently getting and, phone calls that I've gotten throughout my career. Some of them seem to go something like this, where someone will call me and they'll say, "Hey Colin, I need help." And I'll say something like, "Well, this is how I work and this is what I think will be helpful for you." And they say something like, "Well, I don't think that's going to work for me." You know, in my recovery, I found that I was very similar to these individuals. You see, in my story, I had this big shovel, and the shovel I knew was for digging. And so I would dig myself this really grand hole and keep digging just because that's what the shovel was for. And one day I realized that I had dug such a big hole, I couldn't get out of it. And I thought to myself, man, I've got this really great idea. I'm going to keep digging. And so I dug and I dug. From time to time, I'd hear someone say, "Hey, Colin, you want help getting out of that hole?" And I wouldn't really pay attention. I'd think, I know how to get out of this hole. I'll keep digging. And that's what I did for a really long time. Eventually, I got really frustrated because I never got out of the hole. So I sat down because I was tired. I couldn't figure out what was going wrong. And so finally, I looked up. People have been calling me for a long time, offering help. And when I finally looked up, I noticed that they had left a rope and it was hanging right over my head. All I had to do was grab the rope and climb up. The problem was at that time is that I knew that climbing up out of a hole was going to be really difficult. It was a long way up. Now, I only had two choices at that point. I could keep doing what I was already doing and keep digging. But I learned that that was really tiring and frustrating. And I also knew that I could climb that rope. And those were my only two options. At some point, I decided to climb the rope. And it's interesting because I learned that when someone offered help, someone who knew what they were doing, if I just followed through, I'd eventually get out of the hole. But if I kept listening to myself and kept digging, I'd just get myself into deeper problems. And so that's what I did. Now, I started listening to the people who went before and who knew recovery. And that's what helped me in my path forward. I highly suggest that you guys find someone that knows what they're doing. Someone who's recovered themselves, someone who's studied recovery, but ultimately listen to someone else. In this case, at KIRUTZ, we offer support groups. A lot of people don't like support groups. They don't like concepts like God or concepts like the daily work, prayer, reading, writing, going to meetings and daily phone calls. But that's the rope. And if you don't take it, you'll never get out.